Welcome. In front of me is an HMD Skyline, and today I'll go over unboxing along with a quick look at the device itself. With that being said, there's got to be a better way to name your brand than a shortcut for VR headsets. So it's kind of a weird company name, and I presume they were not before on the market before the concept of HMDs actually appeared, so yeah. Anyway, and here we got a relatively chunky device. Now, even though the actual cover here is in pink, the phone I have right here is more black, and it has a relatively interesting design. One thing that I just cannot fathom right here, right off the bat, is they do have a more squarish kind of shape, but the display still has curves on it. Like, why the hell do you keep the least appealing part of the display when you have actual like really, corner edges right here, 90 degree? So it's just a bit of a weird choice. Now, below here we have just paperwork, and there we go, a cable, and the cable is Type-C to Type-C, with no charger being provided in the box for a brand that is called HMD. The reason I'm pointing that out is because if you're just some kind of random ass brand, there's no reason for you to not include a charger. Samsung, I already give shit for Samsung devices for not having a charger. This is not a Samsung, so you have some random ass name and you think you can not include a charger like everyone else nowadays? I hate seeing phones that just don't come with a charger. It's not a complete package at that point. Anyway, so now that it's booting up, let's talk about the display right here. So this is a 6.55 inch display, 1080 by 2400 resolution. It's a OLED display with actually a surprisingly 144 hertz refresh rate and a peak brightness of 1000 nits and HDR10, though it's not certified, but still it's an OLED display, so it should have no problems actually displaying the HDR content. HDR means when you have an HDR10, it means that it can read the content as an HDR content, but it doesn't have the certification that it can display it. And that certification needs to meet a requirement of, I think it's like 1000 nits brightness, which obviously this device peaks at 1000 nits, and it's also an OLED display, so contrast ratios and all that stuff should be obviously adequate for HDR content. So I just assume they decided to skip out on the certification, as it's just extra cost for, in this case, no reason. Now, continuing on, we boast an 85.3% screen to body ratio with a 402 pixels per inch, covered with a corner Gorilla Glass 3. And I just cannot get past these corners right here. Why is it rounded? It's such a dumb decision. Anyway, flipping it over, we have a dual camera setup. The main sensor is a 108 megapixel wide sensor with PDAF and optical image stabilization. Then we got a 50 megapixel telephoto. Actually, this is a triple camera setup. And 13 megapixel ultra wide. This is the ultra wide, and this would be the 50 megapixel? No way. Huh. So this one is most certainly the main one. And like I said, I think this is the ultra wide. This honestly, even though it says that it's a 13 megapixel, there's triple camera setup, this kind of looks more like a fake one, but I guess it's not. Now, at the front, we have a selfie cam right here in this hole punch, and this houses a apparently 50 megapixel wide sensor, and with the back cameras you can record videos at 4K 30 and 1080p 30, and the selfie one supports 1080p 30. Now, let's talk about the build quality right now. So obviously we have the glass front with corner Gorilla Glass 3, and next we have at the back glass back with this matte finish. It actually looks kind of metalish, like it's not brush, but like some matte finish metal. And then we have aluminum frame all around right here. And while we're at the sides, we have volume rockers on the right side, along with a fingerprint sensor that duals as a power button. Then on the other side we have something. I assume this is some kind of emergency button or some kind of button that you can assign some kind of function to it. Then at the top we just have antenna, microphone, and other than that it's just a clean side. And at the bottom we have our Type-C charging port, speaker, our SIM tray. Let me just grab the little tool so we can pop this out. There we go. And in here we have a SIM card at the top, and at the bottom SIM or SD card. So we can expand storage on here. And while we're on the storage, this device comes with 128 gigabytes storage and 8 gigs of RAM, or you can spec it out more and you get 256 with 12 gigs of RAM, which, like I said, both options are expandable via SD card. And continuing on with the internals, we have a 4600 mAh battery that can be charged at 33 watts with a cable, and supposedly supports wireless charging, which, let's see if I can quickly find a little brick that I have somewhere here. Come on. Oh boy, I should have really marked this out. If it's even plugged in. Yeah, I can't find it right now. I do have under the desk, mounted from the bottom of it, a Qi charger. So all I need to do is just kind of try to find it all the time. That's why I was kind of like, struggling. I can't find it where the correct position for it is. I'm just going to keep it at that. But supposedly we do have a wireless charging at 15 watts. Anyway, moving on, in terms of the processor, and here surprisingly enough this device isn't necessarily a slouch. So it comes with a Snapdragon 7S Gen 2, so relatively powerful processor that is powering this device. With 8 or 12 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage at start, this is a pretty decently spec device. So the last thing would be the price, and that's kind of where it falls apart for some no-name brand called HMD. They basically want 550 euros for this device. Like, are you clowning me here, mate? Just to put that in perspective, you can get I would say much better reputable brand called Nothing, a device from them for half the price, that just won't have aluminum frame, but other than that it will have an AMOLED display with 140 or 120 Hz refresh rate, and also 1080p resolution. And in general, I would say I prefer to go for a cheaper device that is spec'd almost identically. It's actually gonna quickly open it up. So what was it? It wasn't Nothing, and that's their sub brand, which I can't remember the name of it. CMF, there we go, CMF. So it's the CMF Phone 1. Now it's a budget looking device, I'm not gonna lie, but considering it costs roughly 230 euros and comes with a Dimensity 7300, which is basically what we have right here just from Snapdragon, and up to 8 gigs of RAM, 5000 mAh battery, same kind of charging speeds. Display wise it's actually a little bit bigger, with a better screen to body ratio, as it doesn't have these dumb little corners right here for no reason. With a resolution that is basically the same as we have right here. AMOLED display, 120 Hz refresh rate, and a peak brightness of 2000 nits, double what you have right here. So yeah, generally it's going to be either performing wise very similar performance to this phone, but in terms of price you're going to be paying half the price for a more known brand, as it's a Nothing brand, which they already released several phones, like a Nothing Phone 1, 2, 2A, and now they have these this more budget-oriented CMF brand, which it's, I would say, pretty good. Like, this phone right now just smashes everything out of the water with the price to performance. So like I said, there's this phone seems to be kind of mismatched in price, as who buys a phone called HMD? I'm not going to be mounting this to my face, as for people that don't know, HMD stands for head-mounted display, which is a other term to call VR headsets. So this is the dumbest name for a company, and obviously they, as of right now, this is probably the most premium phone that I've seen from them, but it still has some dumb decisions. Cool that you made an more premium feeling device, but you still kept stupid, idiotic decisions like these corners. You're either gonna make them square and also make the display square with 90 corners and not rounded, or you go rounded all around. You don't give me rounded corners and then have more bezels. That is dumb. So yeah, there we go. That's basically the head-mounted display phone. I just cannot the name. So, like I said, it's a, at least to me, not very known brand with overpriced device where you can get cheaper phones for that perform as well as this one. So it kind of, to me, misses the mark, I would say. In any case, with that being said, hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.